and welcome to another edition of Kat's Crafty Corner. I am your host, Kathy from La Crosse Public Library, and today we're going to do a Mother's Day craft. It's going to be something very special to give to your mother to honor her on Mother's Day. This is my end result to what we're doing. So it's a heart button shaped craft is what we're working on. Now, yours may look different because the base is a decision you have to make. You could use a picture frame or a shadow box. You could use some canvases that you might have lying around. You might have some wood blocks lying around, or even the simple thing of using cardstock or a pretty pattern paper and doing your buttons on that background. I chose an embroidery hoop and using some fabric. So what you have available at home is what you should use to make this adorable craft for your mother. The other thing you will need to figure out is how you're going to display the message inside the heart. And the message says, moms are like buttons. They hold everything together. And I will repeat it one more time. Moms are like buttons. They hold everything together. For myself, because I don't cross stitch and I don't know how to embroider, I decided to do a take with my design here and with my base. However, you can do calligraphy, you could use paints, you could use markers, you could use a regular pen, you could do what I did and type it up on the computer and print it out and then cut something into a decorative shape. Or you could use a wood burning tool. For the picture frame, you might want to find a pretty pattern paper, gift wrap, and then print out something, the words from the same. There's a lot of options. So you do need to plan this particular craft out first. So you need to plan your base and you need to plan how the message is delivered. You're also going to need some buttons. These are some of my mom's heirloom buttons that she has in the house. She's got quite a bit of a button box. Many people probably do have button boxes laying around. So you can choose those to use, or you can choose a monochromatic look like I chose in mine. You may need a pair of scissors. You might need markers, pens, something in that fashion if you're going to write. You may need your computer and printer. But you'll definitely need a hot glue gun and more hot glue sticks to use. And I'm gonna warn you, remember, hot glue guns can get warm and you can burn your fingers. Do not want that to happen while you're making this special craft for your mother. So go out and gather your supplies and we'll come back and we'll start crafting. As I said in the beginning of the film, there are quite a variety of different types of bases that you can use for this project. You can use a wooden block for the base. You could use some canvases for the base. Or a picture frame or a shadow box would look lovely, especially if you grab some piece of decorative paper, wrapping paper, and use that as the background behind the glass cover of the picture frame. Or what you could also use is an embroidery hoop. And this is what I had selected to use. I'm going to use an embroidery hoop and a piece of fabric. So that decision has been made on my part anyways. You guys still have to decide. And there are other options that you can also look at that you may have available around home. Something very simple is just using a very decorative piece of paper or even white cardstock and doing this project. It does not have to be on a picture frame or an embroidery hoop or on wood. So it's up to you. Make a good selection. Your mom's gonna appreciate it no matter what you do. The other thing that you also have to really be considerate in with this is displaying the message. Moms are like buttons. They hold everything together. That message means something very special, especially for this project here. And moms do actually hold everything together for us. You want to have it to be able to display it in a way that coordinates with the type of base you use. So for my embroidery hoop, I can't cross stitch. It's not a skill I have. So I have to think of something else. I can't use paint, I can't use markers. So I'm gonna hang a tag with the wording printed out from my computer in here. And I'm going to have it, I think, centered in the middle of the heart button, the button heart. The other options is that you could use a wood burning tool, you could use paint. If you know how to calligraphy, that would be awesome. Just your own handwriting, or something as like I am going to do. I'm going to use my computer and printer and use the saying. So let me repeat that saying again. It's moms are like buttons. They hold everything together. So once you have made the decision on your base and on how the message is going to be inputted onto the display, we're going to be beginning our craft in just a few seconds. All right, grab your buttons and spread them out on your work surface. I hope you've chosen different types of buttons. Maybe you have some heirloom buttons for your mom. That would be an extra special thing for this project. I just chose some red buttons that it was easy enough for me to grab, and it's going to stand out onto the white fabric that I am going to use. So what I'm suggesting is that you actually start designing your heart on your work surface. So you spread out your buttons into a heart shape. You may not use them all. And my suggestion, and this is just my suggestion, is to start down at the bottom, that little tip right there at the bottom of a heart. That will get you started, and then kind of work your way around and just maneuver your buttons into a shape. Then you might want to spread things out a little bit more, swap out some buttons, get some more detail. Maybe this needs to be a little bit more in. And until you're satisfied with the layout, then you may want to just add a few more buttons on top and do another layer. Or you may choose not to do any of that. So it's not really, there's honestly no wrong way you can do this craft, to be honest with you. It is just something that you're taking the time to make a special gift for your mother on Mother's Day is what this is. And she's going to greatly appreciate that you thought of her, and that this will also mean something special to her for some time. And if you do use some pretty heirloom buttons or a button that your mom used to have on a particular shirt that you are very fond of, that may also just be a great memory. So I think I have this design in the shape that I want. Let me bring that down a little bit more. I'm going to push these little buttons off to the side. So my next step is actually going to get my hot glue gun warmed up so that I'm able to transfer these hearts onto my fabric or onto the base of your choice. So I am going to go and grab my hot glue gun, and then we'll get started in placing this onto my piece of fabric or onto your particular base. So while we're adding on our buttons, I would also, like I stated earlier, is to start at the bottom, add a little hot glue. Now remember, hot glue can be warm, and just start placing them onto our surface here. So I'm just going to do a few here and get this started so you can see the process. I don't really want you to have to watch me hot glue everything onto my particular one here. And then of course you got all those beautiful strings that come along with hot glue. So I'll remove those. I'll just do a couple more. Oops. The only thing about hot glue is that it's very permanent as soon as you almost put it down. It's not like some regular adhesives. Okay, I get one more in there, and then I will continue doing this off camera. And so I expect you guys to be working on your display here, and I will return in a few minutes. A few more buttons to hot glue to my heart here. So let's get this going. Hopefully you had no hot glue incidents, burning fingers as you were working on yours. And one more. Then we will take away any of the little hot glue strings that we see. Remove those. So I'm gonna switch my thing around and I'm just gonna show you this. So this is how mine is turning out, and I bet yours just looks as good as mine does, or even better. Then I'm going to, this is an extra step that I have to do. I have to place this in here and get my fabric. Let's see, this way. Situated, and I'm gonna have to cut it out. But I do want to, let me just get this here, situated. See if I like how this looks. I want this on top. That's where I was taking a little bit more time. All right, I will cut this material out and show you how it looks. This is the tag that I have decided to do. And mine's gonna hang, and to be honest with you, it is a little over large, but I'm planning on having it hang right here because I just sort of like how the buttons is the backdrop of this whole thing. So this is how I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna just take a moment, I'm gonna trim my fabric around and I'm gonna tie my tie in here, and then I'll show you the finished project. And I wish I could see your finished project. So let me just do that in a second and I will be right back. All right, everyone, I got my fabric all cut out around the edges. I got my tag attached to my base. This is how mine turned out. Didn't turn out too bad. I really like how the tag is accented with the red buttons. This is going to be my Mother's Day gift for my mom. And on a special note, I would like to say to my mother, I truly love you and I greatly appreciate everything that you've done in my past and everything that you'll be doing for me in the future and in the present. I really love you, Mom. I also want to take a moment and say thank you to everyone watching another Krafty Corner, and I hope to see you very soon.